Okay, one more story having to do with Joe Manchin killing the Build Back Better legislation this week. We have to talk about how the squad was actually proven right and centrist Democrats were proven wrong, at least when it comes to one important aspect of all of this. A few weeks ago, when the physical infrastructure deal was being debated, there were several members of Congress, the progressive Democrats specifically, who urged House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer to couple the infrastructure deal with the multi-trillion-dollar spending bill, Build Back Better. And indeed, for a few weeks, those two bills were coupled together, and the idea was that Manchin and some of these other centrist Democrats, they're sure yeses on physical infrastructure. They definitely want to see that get passed. But when it comes to the multi-trillion-dollar spending plan, we just can't trust them. They seem to be changing their minds, and, we just don't know if they're sure yeses. Eventually, Nancy Pelosi decided to cave to the moderates in the party, and they decided to separate the two bills, and Biden gave her the stamp of approval to do so, saying that we're going to be able to assure that Joe Manchin is going to vote yes on both pieces of legislation. So Joe Biden, he essentially gave us his word on that. But the squad, they weren't buying it, so when it came time to actually vote on the infrastructure deal in November, most of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, they decided to vote yes. That's Pramila Jayapal, Katie Porter, Ro Khanna, and a bunch of other familiar names. But the six squad members, they held firm and they voted no. That's Jamal Bowman, Cori Bush, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley, and Rashida Tlaib. And they voted no not because they don't want to see infrastructure get passed. That's actually quite the opposite. They definitely are in support of revamping American infrastructure, but they viewed this as the best bargaining chip that they had for making sure that both of the bills got passed, the physical infrastructure and the so-called human infrastructure. And at the time, there was this sentiment among many Democrats that was like, look, let's get infrastructure done. Biden hasn't had a significant legislative achievement in a while, maybe not since the COVID stimulus plan was passed back in March. And we also don't know if we're going to be able to, in the long term, maintain this 60-vote threshold that we need in the Senate to get this passed, because you really can't trust Republicans. Like, maybe they'll decide they don't want to support this thing anymore. The idea was, let's get it done now. We'll get this round of positive press coverage about the infrastructure deal, and then before the end of the year, we'll get Build Back Better done through budget reconciliation, and that will prompt another round of positive media coverage, and it'll be viewed as yet another accomplishment for Joe Biden and the Democrats. Obviously, that didn't play out, and the squad was right to question Manchin's willingness to go along with the rest of the party. We actually have a video now of Pramila Jayapal talking to Mehdi Hasan about everything that went on, and she maintains that she has no regrets in all of this, but I sort of doubt that. Let's take a look at the video, and then we'll come back.
How do you feel about that today? Do you feel that Joe Biden let you down? And do you feel you got played by Joe Manchin?
No and no. We are, for the weeks and the days going up to the vote in the House, everybody, every day, if I had counted, if I got a penny for every time somebody said to me, this is not going to happen. You all have given up everything. We got it done in the House. Now, I am in the same place in saying that we are getting grenades rolled at us all the time. We have to pick them up. We have to put the pin back in, and we have to continue to focus on the fact that this is going to be rocky. We can't hang our commitments and our hopes on the words of one senator or two senators. We have to continue to work to get it done, and the vast majority of it is done. And so I was on the phone with Senator Schumer today, with the White House, and I believe we will still get it done. It's going to be rocky, and we just have to continue to leave no space in the commitment to getting it done. And listen, the president's word is on the line here, and I do still believe that he is going to do what he told me and what he told our caucus and what he told the country he would do. Had we not done what we had done, though,
and if he doesn't, Congresswoman,
what was that?
And if he doesn't?
No, we're going to do it. We're going to do it.
And the leverage that you had, your critics would argue, was lost when you voted for BIF. I just wonder, do you regret voting for the BIF deal now in hindsight, given it's now months later and Joe Manchin is nowhere closer to signing off on $1.75 trillion?
No, I don't regret it because I think our leverage was at the maximum point.
On the other side of the coin, we have one of the squad members, AOC, tweeting about this, saying, quote, "When a handful of us in the House warned this would happen if Democratic leaders gave Manchin everything he wanted, first by moving BIF, that's the Bipartisan Infrastructure Framework, before Build Back Better, instead of passing together, many ridiculed our position. Maybe they'll believe us next time, or maybe people will just keep calling us naive." And unfortunately, given the establishment Democrats' track record on all of this, and when it comes to them trying to listen to progressives, it'll probably be the second one of those two options there, and they'll probably just keep getting called naive. But there is a counter argument to all of this that we have to consider as well, and it is a strong one, which is that even if the entire progressive caucus held firm and they prevented the infrastructure deal from getting passed in the House, and they made sure that it was only going to happen in one piece of legislation, the two bills had to be put together, and that was it, are we sure that Joe Manchin would have actually voted for it? Like, the argument is that he would, right? Because he supports the infrastructure deal and West Virginia desperately needs new infrastructure, but he just as easily could have done the same exact thing here. He could have said, I like some pieces of this legislation, I like the infrastructure stuff, but there are members of my party who are trying to poison pill it with all of this other nonsense, and there was this opportunity to make this bill bipartisan, and the progressives are ruining that opportunity, so I just can't support this bill in any form. That also could have happened. That also is a legitimate possibility. And then progressives, at the end of the day, they look bad because they are the ones who are blamed for not allowing infrastructure to pass when even some centrist Republicans are willing to do it, and you have the remainder of the Democratic Party in support of it. So what we know for now is that the squad was definitely right not to trust Joe Manchin, not to trust his word because his word means nothing, but whether or not we actually would have been able to get both of these things passed by the end of the year, that remains uncertain, and to be honest, I guess we'll never truly know. It's sort of unfalsifiable in a sense because it really just comes down to what Joe Manchin is thinking on any particular day, and that's unfortunately what we have to deal with. So that's everything having to do with Build Back Better as of now. We're going to go to a break. Back after this.